from the Snug upstairs here in Maddens Bar in Belfast. Fáilte Hig Pod Crealú na Seachtain Seo is mór agin mar néisteach de charge. So welcome to another episode of the Music at Maddens Podcast. I'm Lynette Fay, and thanks to everybody who's listened so far. We are eternally grateful. The response to the idea and to these conversations has just been brilliant, and thanks to all of our guests who come in here and give up their time to sit down in the Snug and have a chat that could literally go anywhere. We just don't know what direction these conversations will go, and I suppose that's part of the beauty of it, and it shows how comfy the Snug is up here as well. So do subscribe if you're listening, and give us a rating, leave a comment. All that feedback really matters to the podcast. I should tell you that all proceeds from this podcast as well go into a scholarship pot. So Music at Maddens will fund and has already funded scholarships for teenagers to attend masterclasses or summer schools for traditional music and the Irish language. So we want to help young people find their connection with the music, the language, and find their voice, because that's what we're all about. And also, you know, there's that, and giving a platform to brilliant people from the traditional music family at home, right across Ireland and internationally. Agus higashin and Chachtan Shaw. I've two superstars with me this week, and I'm a wee bit starstruck, to be honest. If I'm have to fess up here, because the current revival and renaissance of traditional music is in full swing, and two of the superstars are in the Snug now. Brother and sister Séamus and Caoimhe Uí Fhlátharta. You've stolen our hearts with the heart-wrenching yet heartwarming harmonising in your interpretations of sean-nós songs, which are old-style singing in the Irish language. And some of these songs are as old as time. But thanks to Séamus and Caoimhe, you've opened a door to this tradition for a much wider audience who might never have been exposed to this style of singing. Is more agam war gojacta fáilte roimh Music at Maddens. Ho sasta grúpa se seo amach agus gojocail a bula shaharin aniu. So I suppose, Rick, where do you start with a conversation like this? I just wonder, how do you feel when you sing those songs?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's always one of those that you kind of have to think about, because it's all we've ever known in terms of music. So we're some of those very fortunate people that were exposed to this at a very young age. Yeah. So I don't remember the first time learning a song as such, or the first time hearing sean-nós. It was never something that was different. So in one sense, it's second nature. It's something that I've never thought about deeper until very recently. That's the other side of it. Very recently, I do hold a huge weight when I sing the songs, and I realise how valuable they are. I think you're the same. How significant these songs are. They're centuries old. They hold so much wealth of storytelling and culture and insights into how things were in the past. Yeah. And things to learn from the past as well. They're so relevant, even though that they're so very old and ancient and orsashin. So yeah, you feel a bit of pressure then when you realise, whoa, you're one of the few that's carrying this torch now, and you have to make sure that it's safe and that the flame stays healthy and alive for the next generation.
Yeah. And what about you, Caoimhe?
Yeah, the very same. Like Séamus said, it's the first music that we were ever introduced to before there was radio in the house and pop music and all that. It's just what we knew. So it's so comfortable to be singing it. And like Séamus said, it's just all we want to do is make sure it goes on to the next generation. We have two nieces at home. Conal, our eldest brother, has two nieces, and we're already teaching them all the songs, all the hits, and that's just all we want to do.
When you say all the hits, like what are the songs that you're looking at your nieces and thinking, right, you have to know this one. This is the first one you need to learn.
Like, well, she loves Peggy Let's Her More. She loves Ban Fodzy.
Trust na Dunt is a good one as well.
Or what was the other one I was going to say?
Damson
na Gunnini as well. Yeah,
she's got some fan favourites already. Yeah, I can see as well with Séamus and Chibble, we have to say hello to them as well. I can see already that we're not going to be the cool singers, that they're going to very much come on, push us off and take the pedestal, because she's so musical already. So musical, and she's been raised in Irish, and you can see the huge personality. So that excites us, that there are more people coming along that are going to be in this world of Irish speaking and sean-nós and music and traditional music. It's really exciting to see the next generation already coming up.
It's the whole thing at the minute is just I struggle to describe how it feels sometimes, because you've been growing up loving this tradition and getting insights into it. You know, I didn't have Irish growing up. It wasn't around me. I had to go and seek it out elsewhere. I sought it out in Donegal, then in Galway. and the reason I went to Galway to college was because it was beside the Gaeltacht, and the Gaeltacht very much, Connemara Gaeltacht was very present in UCG, giving away my age, at the time. But now it's the tables have completely turned, and the appetite for it is incredible. But not even that. The people like you who are growing up in the Gaeltacht completely understand how valuable this gift you've been given is, and you're willing just to put it out there in your own way, though, but you're putting your own stamp on it.
That's the thing, and that is, I'm glad you called it a gift, because that is what it is.
Yeah.
And we didn't realise that as young people for years, and I'm talking like till I was in my 20s, and I'm still in my 20s, so that's just showing how recent it was that I've realised how lucky we were. I thought everybody had sean-nós singing in school, or traditional musical lessons, or that they spoke Irish at home. I genuinely thought as a child that was just something normal, and we never really felt too strongly about it, because it was just something that we had. As I moved outside the Gaeltacht and started going to college and started travelling the world and realising how much our culture resonated with people, then I started to say, wow, what we had at home is not the experience that everybody had, even in Ireland, and even like very close to home in Galway City or Galway County. So yeah, that was eye-opening.
And even within the Gaeltacht, because there are different pockets of the Connemara Gaeltacht as well. So you're going in micro here. So you look at it as a body and you think, yeah, it's vastly rich, but there are different areas within the Connemara Gaeltacht. And you're from a very specific area, Caoimhe, Carna. And I know just from going to college that's like a real kind of homestead for Irish.
Yeah, it's a bit of a melting pot for the sean-nós. Like Caoimhe, who is one of the most well-known figures in sean-nós, came from just 2 minutes down the road from where we went to national school, and then
It's kind of like the mecca of sean-nós singing. All the great singers came from, not where we're from, Unardwood, from Unard's here,
there,
which is about 20 minutes away.
So his great grandniece then was our teacher in primary school. We got to learn from her, and we just had so many amazing mentors and people who were just had such wealth of sean-nós in the Mícheál Ó Cuaig, Caoimhe Uí. We had all of these people around us, and that's
Please, you will hear, and I just want
Please,
to
you
mention
will
her.
hear, and that's Joanne's great grandniece, and we were just so lucky to have all of those people to pass on their knowledge to us, and now that we're able to do the same.
How aware would you have been of that, though, whenever they were teaching you the songs at school? When you were teeny tiny, you wouldn't have understood that heritage, would you?
Not at all. They were just our teachers and our mum's friends, and all these people were coming to our house to teach us these songs, and we didn't realise how lucky we were, but now we very much do, looking back. Yeah.
There's one thing, having the tradition all around you and being exposed to it, and then there's having the talent that you have, and you also your other brothers. You have two other brothers, Conal and Ronan. You are all incredible singers. And I would urge anyone listening today or watching on YouTube, please, if you have not heard the family sing together, the siblings sing together, go and seek it out on YouTube, particularly the version of Casa and Thug. Oh my God, it is just, it's spine-tinglingly just amazing, and you're just sitting around the kitchen table.
I know.
Can you remember the first time you sang that song together?
Can't really, to be honest.
No.
It was always kind of second nature. Yeah, the two lads, we'd love to have the two lads with us. They're too expensive. Too expensive to have on the road. No, but like that again, all this stuff was just very normal to us growing up. And I remember, all right, going to the Flas and Erachtas and stuff like that, and Mom would have us practicing. So I think they would be some of the earliest memories I have of actual structured singing. But we were always singing in the house or playing music. We've the two older brothers to thank for that as well. Like Conal had started playing music at 5 or 6
before we were even born.
Yeah.
So as soon as we were brought into the house, there was just music all around us. We kind of had no choice, but we were so happy that we didn't have that choice to start and to play. And it's such a big thing for us in the family as well. Like whenever the four of us do come together, it's like the first thing we do is go play music. I remember the first time our eldest brother Conal, he went to America for a couple of months, and whenever he'd come home, there'd be kind of a hello, and then we'd just take out the instruments and start singing and playing. It was kind of like a big celebration. So it's a huge part
I'll
of.
never forget as well the time COVID hit. I was over in New York and I came home and I had to do my 2 weeks quarantine in the house, and everybody was home.
No way.
And I remember hearing the tunes in the kitchen, and I was there going crazy in the room because I couldn't play with them. So I remember the first memory of coming out of the 2 weeks quarantine was yourself and Conal playing tunes in the kitchen and actually being able to do it. And I was like, there it goes again. So it was always in the house. Yeah.
It's great that you brought us back to those dark times, but in a way, only for the pandemic, you might not have had the breakthrough that you had. You have benefited from the time that we all spent indoors and seeking out material and stuff online. Couple of focal anish o locht ariha and fod crealta. Hatch on the Falls Road are proud sponsors of this week's Music at Maddens. Hatch is nestled along the charming Falls Road. It's not just a cafe, it's a thriving hub of warmth and community, and most importantly, exceptional food and drink. I know I have tried it many times, and Hatch manages to capture the essence of Ireland while adding this lovely, unique twist using locally sourced ingredients that support farmers and producers, and the commitment to quality is what sets them apart and elevates a classic breakfast, lunch or dinner into a culinary experience. So beyond the delectable food and coffee, Hatch on the Falls Road is also a community space. It's where friends meet, families gather and good conversations flow as freely as the coffee, and the welcoming atmosphere just invites you to sit back and relax and indulge in a little slice of life. So I encourage you all, if you haven't already, to visit Hatch on the Falls Road. Treat yourself to the best coffee and an unforgettable Irish breakfast. Experience the warmth of the staff who are always ready to greet you with a smile and a recommendation. Avalon Guitars are proud to sponsor Music at Maddens. Still made by hand, still made to matter. And Avalon Guitars began with a simple belief that the soul of an instrument is shaped by the hands that built it. And in their workshop in Newtownards and County Down, tradition and intuition guide every cut, carve and tap. There are no production lines, only luthiers, and every single piece of wood is chosen with care, every guitar voiced individually, every detail considered, not just for beauty, but for balance and for resonance and for feel. And Avalon guitars are played on stages and in studios across the world, but they're born in the quiet where craftsmanship still matters, built to last, built to inspire, built to become part of your story. AvalonGuitars.com for more details.
Yeah, I hate to say it because it was such a miserable time for a lot of people, but it was one of the best things that happened to Caoimhe and I in terms of our music.
Yeah.
Like, I was working with a different group on other projects at the time. Caoimhe was still in secondary school. She was one of the years that didn't have to do the leaving cert, so she was delighted in a way. But yeah, thrust us into a space where we started singing more and more together. And then from that came the time to experiment with harmony and arrangement of instruments and vocalization and that kind of stuff. And I know that has been done. Like, we can't claim to be at all ceann rodithe for like sean-nós singing in a contemporary sense. You have the likes of Alton and Clonard and Scarabray and Leodon, people who were doing fantastic things for years before us that we would have looked up to. But in the Connemara sean-nós tradition, I think there was a serious, and this is a good thing, I think, a serious kind of a purist approach to the sean-nós, which kept it alive for so long as well, because people are so dedicated to it. So we were very apprehensive at first with this whole approach to harmonisation. So just before COVID was War on Winch we did for the Begleys on their Slí na Meigleach show. And I remember arranging it for the first time. We sang it for Mum and Dad at home, and they were saying, "That's gorgeous now, but are you sure that's what you're meant to be doing?" And they were not in any way dissuading us. They were just putting it out there. And Caoimhe and I were like, "Oh, not sure if that is the right thing to be doing." We did it anyway. That opened the door to get onto the FLA 2020 programme where we did Eleanor on the Roon, and then from then on it's just been doors opening and
I remember that's where I first discovered it was on Slí na Meigleach, and it was in lockdown, and I just thought, this is just remarkable. And it was because, you know, they had travelled to Brendan, and Cormac had travelled to, you know, the one of the most furthest western parts of Connemara, and found an absolute diamond, like Shaw de Bhíonmh, then when you started singing, and then again it's back to the Scarabray model, because it's the siblings singing together, you know. And like you say, in your way, putting Connemara on the map as well. That harmonising, and you know, Séamus just said there, Caoimhe, that it just happened so naturally. You know, how do you find your part, your way? Did you have to sit down and work it out, or did it just...
Yeah, so we were lucky that in school and growing up we did a lot of choir singing, so I think that's what kind of introduced us to the harmonies and stuff, and then we decided to add it into the sean-nós singing as well when we had the time. But what we really like to do is try and tell the story of the sean-nós songs with the harmony. So for people who don't speak the language and who kind of aren't used to the sean-nós songs, we like to kind of use the harmony as a way to highlight those emotions and the peak points in the songs. So that's kind of the process that we try and do.
There's a mix of it. Like, we're very lucky that innately as young people we were very natural to harmony, given that we had music in the family for generations before us. Like the sean-nós singing goes back to our great granduncles and further than them, but they were very well known composers, Val Vartle and Micheál Vartle O'Donoghue. So that we had a kind of a natural ability for it thanks to our lineage, but also the fact that we're siblings really helps in blending and mixing and intuition and kind of feeling where the person's going to go. So there is a tiny bit of structure sometimes when we have to, like, especially if we're doing something that we really want to get right, and there'll be a bit of, that's not quite right, we'll try it again. But a lot of it's just feeling it out and feeling how the synergy between the two voices resonates, and if it's kind of dílis go nóra, if it's true to the song and the message that you're trying to convey. So a lot of it is luck. Like the fact that we're siblings is a huge help.
It helps a lot, yeah.
I'm just getting goosebumps even listening to you describe it as such, because it adds to the power of what you're doing, that it is just so intuitive. And we will hear an example shortly, because Séamus and Caoimhe are going to sing a song for us a little bit later on, and that's just that marked down as well. So we'll make sure they'll not forget about that. I did want to ask, because I saw Ashling Murphy, that's where I saw you first, and then went and did a bit of digging around YouTube, and then I came across these videos of Cléaman Cultartha Connemara Lar. Which came first?
So that is actually really...
So Cléaman Cultartha, how would I translate that? Like a cultural Cléaman
like a...
for baby.
Yeah, like a...
the cot.
Bassinet kind of, yeah, like a...
Oh God. Yeah, Cléaman.
Oh,
I don't actually know the English for it.
Yeah, neither do I. It's a difficult one to translate. But it seemed like it was it's a group, and they were getting people, locals who were talented, to basically, like a talent show on YouTube, where you just basically started the camera rolling and gave things a go. And I heard you singing She the Wamoyi. You know, wasn't surprised to hear that one coming, you know, from Connemara singers. But what was that? What was the purpose of Cléaman Cultartha Connemara Lar? They're always obviously tapping into a rich well of musicians in the area.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That was, again, during one of the lockdowns. I think it was one of the 2021 lockdowns, and I was actually very, very fortunate after that to work in the office with Connemara Lar. They were fantastic Plan Alitanga, so language promoters and planners to help the language in the area. So and Una and Maudine were fantastic during the time of COVID, kind of thinking of all these initiatives to keep cultural practices going. So I know that they had some online carolings for different, like, basket making and stuff like that. They've done loads, but one of them was this Cléaman Cultartha, and it just gave a spotlight to all the fantastic established musicians, I suppose, and then upcoming musicians like ourselves and other musicians around the area to keep going. And it was just fantastic because it allowed musicians who got their kind of graw and their kind of social outlets from music create music at home and then see what other people were doing. It was like being at a concert from your own home. So that was brilliant. And yeah, we started roping Ronan, our older brother, into things at that stage as well. And yeah, I think Ronan got roped into a lot during COVID, the poor fella, because he couldn't escape.
Is he the banjo player?
He's the banjo player, yeah.
And he's also a great singer as well.
Yeah. And I noticed as well, though, from those videos, it seemed to me that it was an opportunity for you as well to test out your stage presence, to test out what you do as musicians, you know, because it's one thing performing the music and, you know, getting all that right, but there's also an element when you come to stage, it changes the dynamic a wee bit.
Yeah.
Did you learn a lot from taking part in that? You had to put yourself out there a wee bit.
For sure. And it's weird because for me, I was in secondary school when lockdown happened, so I didn't have a lot of stage experience at all, only for like school shows and stuff. So the online concerts were my first kind of putting myself out there experiences. So I found the transition from that to going onto stage in front of real people to be really, really scary.
Yeah.
Because before it was just my phone and I knew there was people behind the phone, but I couldn't see them, so it didn't matter. Yeah. And then my first gig back, I remember just being like, I can't do this. Like, this is so scary. But then you got that lovely warm reaction from the audience and the applause after you finished and stuff, and it actually made it even better to be on stage and to kind of be playing to real people with real reactions and watching them react as well. It was actually, I way preferred it to the...
And also the connection, I think, with audiences who, like I said to you in the introduction there, you know, it's heart-wrenching one moment, it's heart-warming the next, and that emotion comes across in a live context, doesn't it, when the people are in an audience in front of you. Couple of focail inis ó lucht áirithe na seachtaine seo Music at Maddens. Some words from our sponsors this week on the podcast, and they say there's music in every pint. Smithwick's has been brewed in Kilkenny since 1710. It carries centuries of craft, a ruby red ale with notes of caramel, roasted malt, poured smooth and rich, and it's the taste that's been part of Irish sessions for generations, where stories are told and music is made. So whether you're at Maddens or listening from home, raise a glass and let the tradition play on. Smithwick's is brewed true and shared together, and please drink responsibly, for over 18s only.
You need that. You need that human connection when you're performing, I think. Like, it was really strange, like Cuaimhe said. Luckily I had a few years performing before COVID, but for you I'd say it was really jarring, because you had to go from performing to a phone to real people. And I know it was tough to go the other way, for people to be performing to audiences and then go back online, so everybody struggled with it. But we didn't realise how much people were resonating with the music. We're getting Facebook comments and people saying, oh, love this and all that kind of crack, but it's not human. Whereas when you can feel them in the room feeling your emotions, or like if we were singing Anach Cuain, that they could feel how heavy it was, or if we're singing a love song, they could feel the depth of that. You can feel that energy in the room, and that's a hugely important part of what we do as well. I miss that.
The audience kind of feeds us as much as we're trying to give back to them as well. It's really interesting.
I'm glad you mentioned Anach Cuain, because that was a moment from those lockdown years when you performed that on the Late Late Show, and it was also the reason you were performing it was in memory of Ashling Murphy, so it was extremely sad.
Yes, sir.
But also it was just that sense of, here's our language, this is it all stripped back. You can dress things up as much as you want, but when you strip it all back, there's so much power in what we have that we don't even appreciate it by times. But in that moment, you brought the whole country together, because like the social media exploded with reaction to the song, to you two singing, the language, and also there was the extra resonance of why you were singing that particular song. I wanted you just to tell me about the song first of all, because you said it's very powerful. It's a lament from East Galway.
Yes, it is indeed, from a place called Down, and it was penned by Rafferty, I believe. The music and the lyrics, I'm not sure if they came together at the one time, but the poetry was Rafferty, and tells the story of an awful boating accident which killed, and I always get this figure wrong, which is really bad a number. I think it's between 9 or 10 people passed in a boating tragedy where they were transporting livestock across the Corrib, and a sheep put their foot down through the boat, and there was all chaos and unfortunately lives lost in a drowning. And this song was a way for people to deal with. I think that's what is really important to know about sean-nós singing. Like, it's not industry music. It wasn't composed to be popular, or it wasn't composed to sound good, or to appeal to people in a kind of a superficial way. It was always a coping mechanism, or a way to mark an event. It was very much music of the people. So that Anach Cuain was used to cope with and to record the absolute devastation and tragedy that people were feeling at the loss of life in the locality of Down. And I think that's why it resonates so much at the time in 2022, and when poor Ashling passed, God rest her. An awful, just an absolutely devastating loss as well. And I think people felt that. They felt the humanity of the song. They felt the immense emotion that was recorded, and I think people connected with that really deep root of sean-nós, or the Irish language, that has gone back for centuries. It was a way for people to deal with emotion. It was a way for people to come together and channel those feelings that they couldn't verbalise. Even though
you delivered it in the Irish language, which is a language that is still minority in the country, it shows you, I thought it showed me, that it's in us all. If you go deep enough, it's in every single person, because they connected to something that was written hundreds of years ago. The human emotion was still there despite the song being so old. And I think that's the thing too. You say there about the responsibility of bringing these songs to new listeners, to new audiences. Does it surprise you that people are connecting so much with the language when you sing it in its truest form?
Like, what do you think?
Yeah, 100% it surprises me, because I always believed the Irish language was something that had to exist in a Gaeltacht area. You know, for it to be understood, for it to be spoken. For a sean-nós, I always believed that it existed in Connemara and in Dangan-na-Chúis and in Gaoidóir and like different Gaeltacht areas, and outside that, sean-nós singing was never going to be received. That's always what I thought. I thought it was something that we had for ourselves, and people could come in and observe it and then leave, and then that was it. But the fact that people are so interested in the Irish language and in traditional music and sean-nós singing outside of the Gaeltacht areas now, and not even just in Ireland, like Harlar as well abroad. We've performed in Germany and France and Canada and America, and people are connecting with this language that they don't understand at all, but they feel the emotion still, and that has to do with, I think, of how true an art form it is. Like, it's also very difficult because, yes, we're surprised, but it's not really us that is impressing people, or it's not really us that people are connecting with, it's the tradition, and we're very much vessels for the tradition, and that's why it's so important.
You're very modest.
No,
I think it's a bit of both.
I know, I don't want to sound pretentious now. It's not
No,
me,
you're not.
it's
You're
the
not.
songs.
No.
That's not what I mean at all.
Yeah.
I just mean it's such a rich and powerful tradition that exists through the people that speak the language. You know, it exists because of the people who keep it alive. But it's very much the sean-nós singing tradition in and of itself that people connect with, not the singers that are delivering it. That's my outlook on it.
Yeah. What's yours, Caoimhe?
Yeah, a very similar thing. And I think as well that some people might feel like, because we're from Connemara and because people in the Gaeltacht, they feel that you have to be from the Gaeltacht to connect with these things as well, with the language and with the tradition. But what me and Séamus always like to say is that the language and the tradition belongs to everyone. Everyone is welcome to engage with the language and engage with the sean-nós, even if they haven't had it growing up, if they didn't grow up with it in their house. It still belongs to them as much as it belongs to us, and we'd encourage anyone who has any interest in engaging with it to do so. And there's so many lovely kind of ways to do that. There's so many ways of following people on social media, like Anach Cuain has great like language TikToks and song TikToks, and there's just so many ways to engage with it. Exactly. Everyone needs a bestie Gaelach in their lives, but there's so many ways to engage with it these days on social media and in Cardliny and Chullahort Martin. So that's what we like to say.
Yeah. Just while we're on the topic of accessibility in the Irish language, like, I get really kind of heavy-hearted when I hear people saying, "Oh, I don't have good Irish," or "I could never speak in Connemara because I feel like I don't have good enough Irish." I kind of get disappointed that people view it as a skill. And I know I learned German in college as well, and I realise how daunting it is to speak German to a German native. Yeah. Really, really daunting. But I just would love if people saw the language all over Ireland, and anyone who wants to engage with, like you said, from further afield, if they just saw it as something that belonged to them and that they can engage with it to whatever level they want, and not to be afraid to use just a few words. And if you make a grammar mistake, that's grand. Take the kind of correction or learn from your mistakes and move on, but don't be trying to get to a level where you have to be completely fluent to use it, because you don't need to be. Nobody needs to be afraid of it.
And you're missing out if you do it. If you do that too, aren't you? You're missing out on so much, because it just brings it brings things to another level. That sense of connection, and also I love that you're talking in terms of outside Connemara, and that there's a bigger network, I suppose, of right over the country and internationally. And I know your work with Blana Hoige, which was an amazing project on TG Cahar. So the idea, whoever came up with that idea is a genius.
I know.
The genesis was to take up and coming singers from all over the island who spoke Irish. Didn't have to be from an Irish speaking area, a Gaeltacht, but just if they could sing, if they could play music, whatever, and brought you together as this incredible collective. And everywhere was represented. Am I right in saying every like more or less every area of the country was represented?
Nearly everywhere. I think the only county in Gaeltacht that we didn't have were Cork. So we had Munster, Leinster, Ulster and Connacht all represented, and we've made literally friends for life out of that group. They're some of our best friends now out of that group.
But the power of you all performing together is just out of this world, and then learning from each other about the different songs from different areas. Like, and I'm going to mention Pierce's Sean Goa. And
So
the
nice.
power of the harmonies there, like, you know, I've got a almost 6-year-old at home who can't stop singing that. Da, da, da. But her daddy's from the area where that would have been sung originally, and we're explaining
class.
to her there's a good chance your ancestors might have sang that song, and the power of that connection with the song is just incredible. So what was it like for you to learn about traditions from other parts of the country?
Yeah, hugely educational, wasn't it?
So amazing, yeah. Like, but even like on the basic level, even like the Gaeilge that everyone had was so different. I remember chatting to Cathal O'Cur on the first few days, and I didn't know what he was saying. I was like,
Sorry, Cathal.
he'd ask me a question, I'd be like, yeah, subtitles please. But now it's great. Like after 3 or 4 days, it's great. Like, and now I talk to Cathal all the time, and I understand what he's saying all the time, so it's great. But on that level, even it was so cool.
We just have to say like huge thank you to Sheila Denver and In Year TV and Connemara and Connemara for coming in as mentors and making this happen, because it wouldn't have happened without them. It was hugely educational on multiple levels. Like there is this kind of nós, there's this like tendency to kind of stick with your own area when it comes to sean-nós songs. So like if you're from Connemara, sing the Connemara songs. If you're from Gaidor, sing the Gaidor songs. This was huge in breaking down those barriers and allowing us to actually sing songs from other Gaeltacht regions that we might have been timid to before. I know that sounds really silly because we're all the one island and it's all the one language, but you very much have songs that belong to your area. So it gave us huge access to other stores, other repertoires of songs from other Gaeltacht regions.
It's much richer. I remember even choosing to go to university, and I was going to go to Coleraine, and then I decided not to go to Coleraine because if I went there, I would know everybody already because, you know, the Irish language community is small. I wanted to study Irish at college, and someone said to me, why don't you go to Galway? Proximity to the Gaeltacht, all the rest of it. First lecture, Garage Denver. Hello, Garage. Hulsha, Lorsha Gaelic, near Higma Focal Aduche. He opened his mouth, started speaking. I thought I was a great Irish speaker going down to Galway. Not one word that came out of the man's mouth did I understand. I was like, oh my gosh, what have I done? I have made such a massive mistake. But like yourself with Cathal, that was only just tuning my ear. I had to tune the ear, and then I was actually quiet, I think, for about a year. Everyone thought I was from Connemara because I didn't talk. And then when I opened my mouth, they were like, what? You're a northerner? What? But I understand all the dialects now because of that experience, and it makes it so much richer. And then there's a curiosity that comes with that as well, because you want to know more.
100%.
Exactly,
and we'd have missed out on absolute gems of songs only for that. Like Sean Rao, that's like an Oran Torah, a wake song or a funeral song that they sing to keep people involved, and it was sang in a round over like multiple verses, and people would compose verses to keep it going in order to keep the funeral going and keep the body accompanied, I suppose.
To
like
keep people awake as well during overnight.
Exactly. Like we'd never would have known about that tradition of singing or that particular song only for this project, and only for we were able to engage with Oran this Cantor Iril. So it was huge education. It was 4 days, a full album of music, I don't know how many part TV series. And it was just like the most amazing coming together of music. I remember coming out of it and saying, I can't believe that happened. Do you know, that they pulled that off and that we had created so much in such a short space of time. It honestly was one of the most rewarding experiences.
And I saw you were on your travels during the summer as well, so we're not done. There's a bit more to come.
More to come, yeah. We got to go to Lorient. Seamus actually unfortunately missed out on the trip, but I got to go to Lorient with the group, and it was just amazing. Some new songs as well that we've done, and some new compositions from Maeve Niveglach as well. I just want to mention those as well. The ones from the first album, Oran the Gael was just our anthem. It's become our anthem. We always finish on it every show.
It's become a lot of people's anthems. Like we saw the protest there, Son the Gaeilge in Dublin the other day, and they were singing it loud and proud. And
it's just exactly what we're all about. That just, if you want to listen to one song from Blonde, that's the one I'd recommend to, because it just represents all that we stand for and all that we're about.
On that topic, it's so important that there are people composing in Irish still. Because, you know, when you think of sean-nós as a tradition, it's the old style, and the old style is great, but you're wondering like when that ends, like what the point is when
put your stamp on it. Raise your voice.
The likes of Maeve are so important in Irish singing at the moment, that she's composing songs in the tradition and in the style. So I just wanted to say that because I always forget to say that.
Fantastic. No, and you're absolutely right, but it seems now that people are becoming more confident in their ability to do that, and they are, you know, really chidanish Glorha Ardu Trivan the Gaelic Nia Merla agus nach Eintach atá sin agus Oran the Gael Eintach a ristella mar Oran donna Gael ar fad fud fad na tira. it could keep you talking all day. This is just amazing. But briefly, just wanted to chat about the so people, you know, want to hear recordings from you. So you did make an EP, that version of Blackbird. Like you do, so you sing in English as well.
We do.
How did you come up with that arrangement?
Yeah, so we were really lucky to get to work with Brian Whelan, who's our producer, and Bill Whelan, composer of Riverdance as well, during that EP process. And we went in kind of to the studio wanting to find our sound. So we knew that we loved doing the sean-nós songs in harmony and doing the arrangements on those. That's what we love to do. It's what we still love to do and we're really comfortable doing. But we also wanted to kind of broaden our horizons a little bit and see what else we could do. So Bill kind of encouraged us to take a look at some songs we would have listened to growing up, and we were huge Beatles fans growing up. So Blackbird was kind of a no-brainer. A bit rogue, but it was a no-brainer to go for that. It's just a gorgeous song and a really timeless song as well. I think it just has lasted through the ages really well.
Yeah, but you've also brought it to a new generation.
That's it,
through your interpretation of it, and I think that's really refreshing as well. I think the Beatles would be okay with that.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah, I was always wondering, like, would they appreciate the dun do 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 at start? Like, I'm not sure. But we found that really important to add to it as well, because Páirteach Béal is another oral tradition in Irish, the Irish tradition that is hugely significant in that probably preceded instruments. You know, people used to make mouth music before anything else, but also just the significance of its linguistic kind of rebellion aspect as well. Do you know, when instruments and stuff and Irish language and Irish singing would have been free hush, like it was forbidden, a lot of them would have been preserved through a lot of the melodies and songs would have been preserved through mouth music. So when we were thinking about Blackbird and how to make it kind of gaelach, how to make it fit with our other repertoire and other music that was going to be on the album, it was something daft. It just came to us at home at one stage. We started lilting, and I remember going to the studio, I was like, I don't know what they're going to say to this. We did it anyway, and they thought it was great, and people have just really connected with it, which is great as well.
How do you turn that volume down on what are they going to say in order to do what feels true to you? That must be difficult with you, because you know how popular you are, you know you're connecting with audiences, you know there's an expectation on you in terms of recording, and you have to strike that balance somehow. So how have you gone about trying to do that so far?
It's something that we're still kind of trying to work on, isn't it? That voice in your head that's kind of telling you that everything's wrong and all that stuff. It's something that we're still trying to learn, because we're still kind of new to this whole thing, if you think about it, in the grand scheme of things. But I suppose we have a great kind of family and friends at home that we can trust, and we always bring things to them first. There's a certain few people that get to hear everything first, and we know that they'll
bring it to
the board, and we know that they'll tell us exactly if it's something that we should move forward with, and they'll tell us what to fix. And and we do know ourselves as well, kind of deep down. We like to have conversations with each other and be really honest with each other, and
we felt the weight at the start with pushing the boat with our sean-nós songs and the harmony and stuff. We felt the weight then. I think you're always going to feel the weight as a creator or as an artist. You know, you have to be comfortable in pushing boundaries and realizing if people don't resonate with it, that's grand. It might be something that you keep to yourself and you practice in your own time. And there is that expectation, and I always do get a bit like, if we do anything that's too kind of far field from what we do normally, are people going to like it? We're actually creating new music at the moment, or recording new tracks and stuff like that, and it's always a concern, you know, are people going to like it? But I think you have to listen to yourself first and foremost, stay true to what you feel is good, and like your own message, that what you're trying to portray or convey. I think if you do that,
as long as you're doing that, like, our main thing is that we want to preserve the tradition and preserve sean-nós, and as long as we're still doing that, I think we'll always enjoy what we're doing, and I think that's the main thing.
For sure.
Matters,
you're such ambassadors and such champions. No, but your work you're doing is just astounding. It's brilliant. Long may it continue. What's it like working with the family though? What is it like being in the family business though?
Yeah, so this is the thing. This is the question.
You're saying there about honesty, you know.
I know.
You can say things honestly.
Sometimes we can be a bit.
Do you really be honest?
Are we under oath here?
I think sometimes we can be a bit.
Treat this as a confessional.
The confessional booth.
We'll get everything out now.
I know. Look, it's got its ups and downs for sure. Like, we're very fortunate, first and foremost, that we are a family. We're always in close proximity. Rehearsals are very easy. You skip that, now sometimes to Caoimhe's detriment, you skip the social barrier. You know, sometimes when you're working with other people, you have to kind of phrase things less blunt, and there's a kind of a social and linguistic dance that you have to do around to save face and not insult anyone. I tend to take that to the extreme and just get straight to the
that
point.
barrier doesn't exist.
That-
we put it that way.
barrier is way back there. So I find that very beneficial. Sometimes to the point where I'm probably too blunt.
I know.
When it comes for under time pressure or anything like that.
Exactly.
Would you have that? You know.
So are you the
working
mediator
space?
then, Caoimhe?
I try
She's
to
the
be.
brain.
I do try and be, but no, it's great because like Séamus has a process and like he needs to do it kind of quickly. If he's thinking of something, it needs to come out. So it just needs to come out in any way that it does come out. But it's great because that makes Séamus is the brains behind a lot of our arrangements. So like that's the way. That's the way it works, and it works for us now. And when we started off, like we were siblings, we were like I was his little sister. We were always kind of butting heads. But I think over time we know what we're both focused on. We know what we want to do, and it's just become a lot easier, and we've matured a lot as well. So we get on a lot better now than
but it is important to be honest in saying like it is really difficult working with family, especially if you have high pressure situations. We're very lucky at the moment that we've not had anything too high pressure. We're very lucky that we have loads going on, and it's all very feel good. But yeah, there are stuff that were more high profile gigs or stuff that's going out on telly, and you know that it needs to be right. So yeah, it's easier to butt heads with your siblings because that barrier I mentioned earlier on is not there. But I think altogether we're not doing too bad.
Yeah, because we're
Can't kill each
siblings,
other
we
yet.
all just everything we get over it, and it's like normal siblings. Like you have your fights and you have your button heads, but you always just come back to being siblings in the end. So it's
And if you have a common goal and a common message that you want to deliver, it makes it easier.
And the fact that your siblings is that's where the gold is in this, because that's where that's the magic is as well,
Exactly, yeah.
in everything that you're doing, the synergy, the intuition, and everything that you're doing. Gur míle maigah a civilian music at Maddens when my urge and such as a chora iniu agus maihim go mé an darna chora agus an tríú chora agus an carú chora on. No much crickney and no much way.
Just getting started.
Just getting started. Míle buíos.
Gur míle
Séamus
maith.
agus Caoimhe Uí Fhlátharta.
Gur míle maith, Lynette.